Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. Really appreciate this. Are you on the East Coast?
Yeah, I'm in Miami.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. What has happened is that our clocks haven't turned. So I'm in England, and normally we're 5 hours ahead, but we don't have our daylight savings until the end of the month. So
Oh,
it's
really?
yeah. So
Mm.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure how much of of the show you've seen or caught at all.
I just seen some of it. I just got put onto it like a week ago, and I just saw some of it. But it's actually really interesting. It's cool. Really cool
Yeah,
stuff you got going on there.
yeah. In fact, I didn't realize that you would when I was interviewing Jimmy Love that you were that he's that you were bound to tune in. So I thought it was a mistake. And it was only afterwards he told me that he wanted you to listen in. But I thought what was going on. I didn't know what was so.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate you joining in. I started this during the pandemic as a way of just reaching out and celebrating our artists, producers, songwriters, and I think I've already interviewed almost 100.
Oh,
From the
wow.
producers like Rodney Jerkins, Brian Alexander Morgan, Elder Barge. In fact, I can't. Right now I keep forgetting. But anyway, and so the whole
Hmm.
yeah,
I gotta
Elder.
watch. I gotta watch the Elder Barge one. He's deep.
Yes, in fact, he talked a lot about stuff that Stevie Wonder from Quincy Jones, a lot of the stuff. Yeah, he talked about his childhood writing songs like I Like and how Chico. Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah. But
and he's on the low. That's who Babyface idolized.
yeah, I mean, he's probably the thing about L is that he's a very because I'm a therapist, I'm a mental health therapist. So
Mhm.
when I was interviewing him, I had to almost be like him, so he felt comfortable to talk and share
Mhm.
and just talk about just life and stuff. But the whole idea is celebrating everybody. Angie Stone just recently, I interviewed Angie Stone and Kathy Sledge. So it's just a mixture of people to celebrate. Even Albie Shaw was on with Cal West just 2 nights ago. So
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that this morning. Yeah, and Kyle West was like my hero when I started making music. That was I wanted to be. I admired Teddy Riley, but I wanted to be more like Kyle West. I really liked his style.
I mean,
I was
I've interviewed Cal twice in the past week, and and just because we had such a great time that we keep just saying let's just record another session just to talk about different things. So, but I didn't realize he's so reclusive. But when you do interview him, he just enjoys to share, and then Al surprised him as well. But for yourself though, Bryce, I mean, you're somebody who because when I told a few people that I was going to interview you, they kept saying, "Oh, the guy from Mantronics." I was like, "Mantronics?" So I'd never heard of Mantronics. I remember you from Groove Theory, and I remember you producing alongside Babyface and other stuff, and then doing some films and stuff. But the whole idea is to really start from the beginning, just trying to see where you were born and raised. So we can just start from the beginning. So where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in New York City. I grew up between Jamaica, Queens, Brooklyn, and Washington Heights.
Okay. Now, for
So
those of
between
us
all
who've
three.
never been in New York or been in the East Coast, does that sound like a large area or is it just neighboring cities?
It's three different boroughs. My family's from Brooklyn. We were the first or second family to start out in Queens. When you're in New York, if you're from Brooklyn, if you do good in life, you move to Queens. If you do better, you move to Long Island.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
yeah, that's how that happens. But the Manhattan happened. My father and my mother got divorced when I was 7, and he moved to Washington Heights, which is a very popular neighborhood now. La Marina is a big restaurant there. It's gentrified and everything now. But it's a predominantly Dominican and Jewish neighborhood
Okay. Your family are they from the Caribbean or did they or
from a lot of islands. More Barbados than everywhere, but like everywhere. Trinidad, Bahamas, Jamaica, Guyana, Brazil,
Okay.
everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. And so you say when your parents separated, did you move with your dad or move to your mom or?
No, stay with my mother, but my father was really active. So he would take me, my two sisters, and my other two cousins, Candace and Alan. He would take all five of us. So he'd have five kids every 2 weeks,
Wow.
pretty much by himself, and he'd just take care of us. Very present. He wouldn't like, take us and leave us and go off. He'd be active, always have things for us to do, always cooking for us, taking us to park, stuff like that. It was always an adventure every every other weekend with him.
Wow. And then as a kid growing up in that area, what was your sort of interest or what are the kind of things that you got yourself into?
Uh, well, it was the 80s and it was the crack era. So
Yeah, Monifa was
it
telling
was,
me about that. I mean, yeah.
yeah, it was probably it was definitely one of the most dangerous places in the planet on the planet, but it was
Wow.
also just an extremely fast place. It was very fast paced. For kids growing up, when crack era came, every kid, not every kid, but so many kids became instant entrepreneurs because the opportunity was presented, even though it was our government that presented it and punished us for it later. That was the opportunity. Everybody was doing something that was involved in the crack era. And those that weren't directly involved were just really thinking about survival. It was really, really dangerous times then for everybody.
So stuff that we see in New Jack City, that is it was even worse than that.
Yeah, yeah. New Jack City comes from like the Supreme Team in Queens, in South Jamaica, Queens. So yeah, those that's that's a spinoff of things that really happened.
I mean, as a kid, were you aware how dangerous it was and how were you able to sort of keep yourself sort of away from falling victims to stuff like that?
I didn't do so well, to be honest. I didn't do so well. I so I went to a it was weird. I was in junior high and my mother pulled me out because I was getting a little bit of trouble. So she pulled me out, moved me into this private school,
Wow.
which was like $1,600 a year, but it was a big deal for back then.
Yeah.
Because my mother had a teacher's salary. So I went to this little private school on Merrick Boulevard, which is in the hood. And when I left there, I only went 1 year. And it was a weird school. Like LL Cool J went there, Tashina Arnold went there. It was a lot of other celebrities went there. But when I left, I went to a school. I tried to get into a school called August Martin because I all of a sudden when I was getting out of the eighth grade, I was like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll be a pilot.
Okay.
So I didn't pass the test. Whatever happened, they didn't accept me. Um, so I was like, well, I'll go to Andrew Jackson. That was the next choice. What I didn't want to do was go to the local school at that time for me, which was Springfield Gardens. I didn't want to go there because I didn't really like going to any of the local schools. So I went to Andrew Jackson, which is a legendary school. It was the first school in all five boroughs to have metal detectors, picture IDs.
Wow.
We had a task force full of gorillas, like gorillas jumping out the van on you. Like it was a crazy school. And it was like a jail. It was 3,500 students. It was huge. And
Wow.
it was just a crime-ridden, ridiculous. Everybody was taking chances. Like that was definitely like when you see Lean on Me, that was like a joke next to Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was it was a serious, serious school. So I went there. For some reason, I just thought it was a decent school. I used my aunt's address because my aunt on my mother's side had moved from Brooklyn to Queens, and I used her address to be zoned in that school. And I thought it was a good school, and I immediately, as soon as I got there, I was like, oh, what is this? It was a zoo. It was like a prison mixed with a zoo.
Wow.
And I went there, and I was a victim for about a month and a half, and I had a homeboy Jeff that I was hanging out with, and I used to beatbox because Rozelle from the Roots
Mm.
lived on the corner of my block. So me and my man Ike used, we're young, but we're always trying to be like Rozelle. So I took whatever I learned from watching Rozelle, over to Jackson. Kind of became a little bit of a celebrity, and I met this guy Jeff that was from Hollis, Queens, and Jeff was like a big brother. Big brothers beat you up, hang out with you, let you hang out with the older kids, all of that. And but Jeff really did a lot for me because Jeff was the first. Jeff and my cousin John L were like my first alliances in that school, and you need alliances in that school.
Wow.
That school had Hollis, Farmers, Southside 17. It just had different crews all over the school, and they were beefing schools. They were beefing territories. So Jeff was the first person to really have my back, and he had my back, and I kind of took it overboard. So I just got into different games at that point. And school was just the last thing that that was just the last thing on my mind. So after like a month and a half in New York, if you fail, you get a 55, and my report cards were 5s, 7s, and 12s. And you get a 40 if you cut too much. So I was beyond cutting too much. I just didn't go anymore for like months at a time. I wouldn't go to school for like 3-4 months at a time. Doing silly stuff. But those times everybody was into something. You into the drug selling, robbing, but there's always some kind of hustle somebody was into. So yeah, I mean, me and my sisters, we grew up dead center in the middle of that.
Hey, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you love what you watched, there's over 100 artists that we've interviewed. So please check out the videos. Remember to like, share, and unsubscribe. But better still, become a member of Halftime Chat and get exclusive videos ahead of time. But thanks for watching. Take care.